What is up, y'all? Welcome back. Welcome to a fresh installment of my top shelf series. I have a really bad process basically of while I'm reviewing makeup, it just starts to live on every surface of this room that I work in. And then I break eventually, my will breaks and I'm like, I have to clean this up. And so when I clean it up, there are these Marie Kondo moments where I'm just like, well, I can't put this away because I'll just take it right back out. I'll miss it. You know, it's like something that I'm using so often that there's no point in me putting it back because I will either forget that it exists because I have no object permanence, or I will just want to pull it right back out, so it'd be silly to put it away. And so that is what kind of auto selects what I include in my top shelf. I was very discerning this time. Like, am I going to go through every single thing in my routine? No, this is a series. And for that reason, you can go back to the playlist and see everything that I'm not going to kind of repeat. You might see some familiar faces, but I try not to be a broken record about every single tiny step. So before we jump into today's video, I want to talk to y'all about today's sponsor. So I'm working with Current Body today. Current Body is incredible. They're a one-stop resource for all of your beauty device needs. I have so many wonderful beauty devices. I'm a huge beauty device fan because either from a personal standpoint or a gifting standpoint, it's something that you never have to refill. You're not gonna run out of it. It's not a subscription. There's so many of these things where it's like you have to subscribe to them or something like that. It's like, no, buy it once. It's an amazing gift to yourself and then you just get to reap the benefits infinitely. And while I encourage you to check out everything on their website, I have a lot of codes. I will stick them all down below. I want to talk to y'all today about Current Body's own original LED masks, both the one for the face and the one for the neck and the décolleté. They could just call it the neck and deck mask. I have been using these for years. They are red light therapy masks. They look like this. This is the LED face mask, and then this is the neck and deck. So as you can see, there is no implication of, you know, face size or shape or anything like that. These are all extremely versatile and comfortable. These things look really simple, but there is a ton of technology in these. They are 31% more effective than any of the other red light therapy devices on the market. The benefits of red light therapy are many. It improves fine lines and wrinkles by stimulating the production of collagen in your skin. It balances your skin tone because the red light actually helps to soothe inflammation, which is really helpful for me. It boosts circulation and cell oxygenation, so it's going to even your skin tone and reduce texture, and it's overall brightening, which is something that's huge for me. I think that the best thing about these is they're so easy to integrate into my routine. There are so many other products out there that just become another thing that you just don't do. This is something where it's like I can do it while I'm watching Netflix or doing a crossword puzzle or whatever, you know, before bedtime. It runs for 10 minutes. It's like a little personal care moment. And I always say that my favorite kind of gift to give or receive is something that is going to just be used a lot. Like that is the sign of a really, really good gift, right? And giving something like this, these LED masks, is just really useful for the recipient. It's just a nice thing to have, no matter who you are, no matter what your age is, anything. It's a very one-size-fits-all, crowd-pleasing kind of gift for Mother's Day or whatever. So you can just use my name, Kackie, at checkout. You're gonna get 15% off of each of the LED masks or the bundle, and the bundle is already reduced as a result of bundling it. So they do stack. So definitely check out Current Body using my link down below. Use my code at checkout and get 15% off. I highly, highly recommend Current Body because they are really the authority on beauty devices. These are really effective and absolutely worth it. So thank you so much to Current Body for partnering with me again for this video. And let's go ahead and jump into my top shelf. So top shelf, y'all. This is like no temporal context. These are just the things that I am actually using in real life. The stuff that, again, like I can't put down. So in no particular order, although I do have them grouped, thank God for everyone's sanity, right? First category is always, I went and just grabbed things out of my bathroom. That's the first category. I won't spend too long here. This is just my favorite new thing that I've tried. Is the Color Wow Style on steroids. It is an incredible volumizing, texturizing kind of hairspray texturizer hybrid. I have been a student of these kinds of products for years and years and years. I was a hairstylist for 8 years. I've tried a ton of products like this because I have really sad, thin, fine hair. And this is the best one that I have found. So much so that like this was not sent to me in PR. Like I just keep buying it. And everyone who has used it, everyone from people with like a really thick head of hair to my mom who has like really, really curly hair, has really enjoyed this. I will say my friend Natalie, my skintress, she has this really incredible, like, it's like thick, fine hair. So her hair is like really glossy naturally and very heavy and dense. And this just, it doesn't have the muscle to give hair like that, especially in a blunt cut, a lot of volume. So like, it's not for everybody, but if you've got fine, thin hair, like, and you are the kind of person who wants volume and needs volume, you're probably a good candidate for this. If you don't really need volume because you've got a whole lot of hair, you probably wouldn't be shopping for this in the first place. I just told her to get it for her wedding because I'm gonna need it to style her hair. Next, I actually have Tom's roommate Tiff to thank for this, because when I went and stayed with them during New Year's, I just took a little bit of this that was in the shower and I was just like, what does this do? And I just kind of like rubbed it on my hairline, you know, before I shampooed my hair. This is the TLC Happy Scalp Scrub from Drunk Elephant. I use their shampoo and conditioner already because it's like the only thing that doesn't break my skin out like crazy. And this is a glycolic scrub, 10% AHA BHA blend that goes on your scalp as kind of a leave-on treatment for a couple minutes, like 10 minutes or something before you shampoo. And you don't do it all the time. I do it like once every couple weeks or something. And it just takes all the buildup out of your roots and off your scalp. And it makes my hair blow dry so glossy afterwards. Like it just has so much more life to it because it just removes the buildup. My hair is pretty prone to buildup because I use a lot of stuff like this. So this has been incredible. And again, I owe Tiff the thanks for turning me on to this. And then honestly, y'all, from a skincare standpoint, I'm having a rough time. The only two things that I can really vouch for are these two things. They have nothing to do with each other. This is the Prequel Barrier Therapy Skin Protectant Cream. I use this all over my entire body and my face. It is the only thing that keeps me from having an absolute itching fit when it's dry outside. My skin loves it. It's really calming. The only active ingredient in this is colloidal oatmeal. I don't know how they did it, but it's $18 and it's incredible. Imagine. Your face moisturizer is your body moisturizer and it's $18 for 10 ounces. Good grief. And then the other thing, this is something from my past. I have had really, really, really dry skin my entire life. As a child, my skin would get so dry that it would like crack and bleed. And this is what they would put on me. And so I have just gone and bought it again. I bought it on Amazon. This is just, I don't know the brand really, Home Care Pro, whatever. I just wanted to make sure that it was Aloe Vesta. Aloe Vesta is basically what they use on bed sores in the hospital and on diaper rash, essentially. Like now there are more kind of protectant creams, I feel like, that are a little more comfortable for kiddos in their diapers. I use the butt paste, but this is petrolatum 42%. It also has calendula, lanolin, dimethicone, glycerin, aloe, coconut oil, more lanolin, stearyl alcohol, cetyl alcohol. I think those are both like fatty alcohols. Soybean oil, mineral oil, and Saracen. I'm not sure what Saracen is. Matt Saracen. Friday Night Lights. The inside of my brain is, it's like somebody is like in one of those old fashioned telephone switchboards where they're like, hello, yes, connecting you now. And then they're just like, I don't know, just this, whatever, Matt Saracen. So anyway, petrolatum 42% is the main like active ingredient, but all those ingredients are incredible. I love that it has lanolin in it because that's just so effective for me as both an occlusive and something that like keeps my skin moisturized. And it's like, it's white. It comes out as this really thick paste. And then as you rub it, it goes clear and it becomes just this, oh, it has a really specific smell. If you ever smelled Nupercanol back in the day, Nupercanol is another like diaper rash cream. This smells just like that. So it's kind of familiar to me, but it really sinks in. It's somehow like, I know that a lot of people would probably call Aloe Vesta just an occlusive, but it's not. I really feel like it's like the one thing that is both, where it's actually moisturizing my skin with a lot of those ingredients. I mean, glycerin is one of like the, you know, top few ingredients that's very moisturizing, and also it's incredibly occlusive. So it is what cured my skin as a child. And so I have gone back to it, and it's cheap enough that I put it all over my face, all over my body. It's really wonderful stuff. I'm so sick of New Jersey. Okay, we're gonna try and be organized. I'm going to put these back. All right, let's move into makeup. We're talking about foundations here, and I have 4, none of which, well, maybe one of which is going to surprise you. So we'll start here. The Prada Reveal Foundation. Yes, I still use the living crap out of this. Really glad that they have a replacement system, you know, like it's like a refill, so you only have to buy this, because I love this enough, I'm going to actually empty it and repurchase it. It is just that good. It is an amazing shade match for me in LN5, and the finish on it is so beautiful. It's really smooth. It's incredibly lightweight. It looks like skin, like it truly has like a natural finish to it. I've just never had a bad makeup day wearing it. I love it. Then we have the Fenty Eavesdrop Stick, the Blur and Smooth Tint Stick. I recommend this to like everybody, honestly. It's so lovely. Like I've heard people with oily skin even really like it. I don't know, I can't speak to that. I clearly don't have oily skin. You just saw me talk about bed sore cream. But this is, wow, I'm steadily making my way through this. You will go through this a little faster than a typical makeup stick. Like a lot of people compare this to like the Westman Atelier. I personally am not spreading the Westman Atelier all over my whole face. I don't think that that is the best way to use it. So this you are spreading all over your whole face. You might go through it a little bit faster, but it is so hydrating, but also so long wearing. It's the right amount of coverage. It's like a medium, you know, like a 4 on my arbitrary scale of 1 to 10 of like coverage levels. And it really behaves like a skin tint, but it's so thin and lightweight because it's in this really slippy stick formula. And the shade range is really good because it's Fenty. So there you go. Another one, which is not just a good shade range, but a very well-informed shade range. Like all the shades are very dialed into natural human skin tones, is the Yummy Skin Serum Skin Tint from Danessa Myricks. This is one of those things that's like, I've been talking about it since it came out, but I feel like it's been kind of like a sleeper hit, if you know, you know kind of thing. But the more people try this, the more they come to me and they're like, why didn't you tell me? And I'm like, I did. It's just so lovely. So it really behaves like a skin tint. It has a really beautiful, just slightly more like glycerin-y looking than natural skin. So it looks like a skin tint, but it's got a lot more coverage and it's just very, very flattering. It's an incredibly, like it makes me feel really confident when I wear it. And shade 2 is such a good shade match for me. It's like kind of the best shade match in my entire collection. And this one, you know what? I can't link it down below or anything. If y'all tuned in yesterday, when I'm filming this, it was yesterday, on Instagram when I went live, and it's still there if you want to go watch it. I made a Franken foundation and I'm wearing it right now. I love it so much and it's so stupid because it is instant top shelf, but it's also not something I would ever recommend anyone buying. The reason that I made this is because it was made out of 2 foundations that were so expensive that just happened to be really complementary in terms of why they didn't work for me. So it is the Christian Louboutin Fetish Fluid Foundation, and I had it in 15 NW, which was too warm, but really it was olive for me, so it kind of just looked green. And then the Gucci Cushion Debutée, and it is way too light for me and too rosy. You see where I'm going with this? I mean, obviously you see where I went with this. So green, pink, they cancel each other out, and not cancel each other out, but you know, you basically get a neutral there. And then the depth and the lightness, they also worked together to find a happy medium. And I ended up not just with a fantastic shade match, but a really lovely formula because the Louboutin is real thick. It's like too much. It's just really heavy on the skin. But the Gucci, because it's a cushion, is very, very thin. And so they found kind of a middle ground with this lovely kind of skin tint texture. And I swear I put like, come on, right? It's like a really good amount of coverage. Like I said, I'm having not a great skin moment right now, but it's blurring. It looks dewy, but it's not. I'm not gonna spend too long here, because I made a Franken foundation, but like you might see me talking about this more in the future because it's truly like my own little custom creation. And I have to point it out because it's so hilarious that I made this out of 2 foundations that I truly didn't like at all. And they were both so expensive. And that was like, why? Like one was $81 and the other one was pretty close to that. It was like 2 things I wasn't gonna use anyway. And doing this was just such like a shot in the dark, and it worked flawlessly. Concealers. Okay, I have 3. I'm gonna start with this one. This isn't even a concealer, but this is the Sigma. I've been using this every single time I've done my makeup since I went on the New Orleans trip, and they gave these to us in our like goodie bags. This is the Spectrum Color Correcting Duo from Sigma in light to medium, and it's literally just 2 lovely emollient color correctors in very, very similar shades. One's a little bit more pink, one's a little bit more peach. Right? And I kind of use them interchangeably. Neither of them is too dark for my skin. And what it does is it, you know, just like any under eye corrector, it's going to make it so that you don't have to wear as much actual coverage because it cancels out a little bit of that like shadowy thing, or like the fact that my eyelids and under eyes are just really thin skin. And so you can see like my veins through it and stuff. And I'm not like piling on concealer. There's something more skincare-ish about this formula that makes it not feel like a heavy, cakey complexion thing. It kind of feels like a cheat code. Then, surprising to absolutely no one, is the Tower 28. Like, do I love the Givenchy? Yes. Do I love the Kosas? Yes. What have I been using the Tower 28 Nonstop. Now, on my live yesterday, I had a couple of people say some weird stuff about this. And I don't mean weird like they're off their rocker. I'm just saying like stuff I did not expect. Like one person said that as they got into the really light shades in this range, they got into like ice cream colors. So ice cream colors is what I say when like, it almost feels like someone didn't test the very light shades of a complexion product on human skin, or else they would know that like they weren't human skin tones. They're just kind of like overcompensating basically for like rosy, you know what I mean? Cool versus warm. And they just end up being like light green or looking like calamine lotion or something. Like they just don't look like human skin tones. And that's definitely not been my experience with these, but at the same time, I only have two of them. I have CC and BU. And I don't think that they're like the lightest, but I wanted to just kind of call that out. I think that anytime somebody gives me feedback on a product, like obviously that's just going to expand and diversify my ability to give you a good review. And then someone else said that it oxidized like 2 shades on them. I have not had that happen at all, but if you're someone who like things are prone to oxidizing on, maybe that'll happen. The reason that I love this is because it's so lightweight, has a perfect amount of coverage for me, which is, I like a lot of coverage, and it has a really beautiful self-setting property that you don't have to powder, and it still looks like skin, and also it's $22. You know, like it's just a crowd pleaser as far as I'm concerned, but I did want to build in those caveats. And if y'all have any other feedback about honestly any of these products, let me know. I always want to richen my ability to give you a well-rounded review, you know? And then it's like I have upstairs makeup where it's like I'm sitting down in my lights and I like want to really do something, enjoying all of my pretties, all of my sparklies, all of my smoothies, all of my everything. And then there's like utilitarian makeup where I'm like down in my downstairs bathroom and I'm like, I gotta get out the door, you know? And I've got like a thing on my face. And what I end up doing a lot of times, almost every time, is using this. And also this is great for touch-ups. Like throughout the day, like, you know, if I have a blemish and like, it's starting to wear off, I'm like wiping my nose too much or whatever, I just use the Glossier Stretch Concealer pretty much everywhere that I have an issue with. It just kind of solves everything. I've been using that, and then, you know, I'll show you some of the blushes and stuff, but this is just, it's just a product that keeps on giving. I've been using it since 2017 and it just keeps on giving. It's hydrating, it matches really well, and they've expanded the shade range over the years, and so you're more likely to be able to find something that really looks like your skin. It's just really, really good, especially if you have dry skin, because it's very hydrating, very emollient. Okay, we're putting them back, we're putting them back, we're putting them back, we're putting them back. Discipline. Self-discipline. I don't have it. I don't. I also haven't talked about perfumes yet. That'll be after the makeup. I have 2 powders. I know I have 2. Normally I would just talk about the Kosas Cloud Set because she is my dream powder. Also, I mentioned it on my Instagram stories, but I want to mention it here to make sure more people hear it because it's very important information. I got a comment where someone said, oh, you can just remove the hard pan on your powder with Scotch tape. And I was like, you can do what now? And I just got me some Scotch tape and I removed the hard pan from my Hermes powder. I had taken, I don't even know, I think just like a towel and my fingernail or whatever, and like scraped the entire top layer off this. I lost so much powder as a result of that in order to get it to stop hard panning. And like now it's fine, but at the same time it would have been a lot better if I had used the Scotch tape because it works like a charm. It is great. It is a great tip. It was very, very satisfying. Thank you to the person who commented that. So I love this. It adds a little bit of coverage, and so it's like nice and blurring. I have a little bit of underneath my eyes right now, and it's just a good, again, confidence builder, right? You're done with your complexion and you're like, that still doesn't look that good, whatever. It's just gonna kind of, you know what I mean? Just kind of blur. It's just gonna kind of, it's like using a blur tool in Photoshop. You're just kind of like, nobody will know. It's just great stuff. And it is not super oil controlling. Like if you have oily skin, don't use any of the powders that I use. I think that that's probably the widest margin of product recommendations that you should ignore on my channel if you have oily skin is like powders. Obviously, like a setting powder, you're gonna need a completely different setting powder than I am. And then the other one, God, y'all, it's like if you took that Kosas and then you made it colorless. Just Jack. This is the new Laura Mercier Translucent Pressed Setting Powder Ultra Blur. Of course, everybody loves their translucent loose powder, which is years and years and years old, right? But they've been having some weird releases, okay? Like some of their stuff has been kind of like, what were you thinking? They came out with a powder last year that really, it behaved very much like that Melt makeup, the glazed powder, where everybody was like, maybe people want powder that makes their whole face iridescent and has a lot of cakey coverage. And the world was mostly like, no one asked for this. And so that one didn't go over real well among anyone that I knew, but this is a W and they needed a W. Like, this is very, very good. So it's like, while this, like, I just really dug my finger in there. Again, if you have oily skin, don't do it. I say this every time, but you're gonna be like, is the alleged powder in the room with us right now? Because it is so subtle. Like, look at the Kosas versus the Laura Mercier. And that is the same amount of pressure. I might have even put less pressure on the Kosas. So that pressed powder from Laura Mercier, it is very, very pressed. And also it is very, very translucent. It does come in more than one shade though. They're not trying to claim that like it's gonna be translucent on every skin tone, but it's very translucent on me in a way that's like, when I use, I mean, I don't keep the puff around, but like I had the little puff initially. And when I first used it, I was like, wait a second. My under eyes are a different texture, but there's no more coverage added. So it's like a really good no makeup powder, or just a really good option if you already feel like you have enough coverage on your face, you know? So I just think that these, for dry skin people, like, this is, I hate to say the word, everybody's holy grail, but this is like instant holy grail status, because it truly is like just someone took the color out of this. So let's talk about some bronzers. I'm so professional. Okay, I have a handful here that are not gonna be unfamiliar to you in a lot of ways. So like, you know, this is not a bronzer, it's a contour, but like the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow, I use this in like every single video. That, the Victoria Beckham, you know what I mean? Like, we don't really need to talk about that. This has become a big favorite for me. This is the Hermes Healthy Glow Mineral Powder in the shade 1, Totori. And the reason that this is interesting is because this isn't really technically a bronzer. It's kind of like a, you know, powder skin enhancer kind of thing. And it's just so darn beautiful. It's really expensive, but I adore it. Like, I'm just really happy that I got it. It's golden, but it's like a very balanced, realistic looking golden on my skin. And it is pretty subtle. It's nowhere near as subtle, oddly enough, as the new YSL one, but it's still really, really nice on my skin. The YSL one almost doesn't show up on me. So I have been adoring this. Like, and the finish on it is so beautiful. I do find that like Hermes's stuff, as much as I didn't love the Plein Air, the original foundation, their other stuff has really grown on me. Speaking of skin enhancers, the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Skin Enhancer has made it back into heavy rotation. This is my second one of these. I finished one last year. It's not surprising. This is a really beautiful gel texture product. It has so little pigment to it and just a beautiful finish. And again, it's very much like that Hermes in the sense of it just kind of puts life back in your face without going bronzer. You know what I mean? It's not every day that I just want bronzer, and sometimes I want both. It's just nice to have options, and y'all have heard a lot about this. And then the Gucci one, all of these are just back in rotation, you know? I will actually swatch all of these so you can see the shades next to each other, because I think that it's important sometimes to see that it's like, it's not necessarily always about finding your like skin tone match in a bronzer as much as it is what you want it to be, depending on like, you know, what time of year it is or what you're trying to accomplish. Because look at this, the Hermes is so yellow, and the Makeup by Mario is very neutral, and the Gucci is quite like blushy rosy. And I use all of them. It's just kind of like using the undertones to my advantage. Either way, I get excited about that kind of stuff. Not everybody gets excited about that kind of stuff, you know, talking about the color theory of bronzers. But that is why, and people have marveled, they're like, why do you travel with so many bronzers? I'm like, they all serve a purpose, okay? The blushes, I know that like, I typically am the blush queen, but it's kind of like how tomatoes are my favorite food, and therefore I don't want to eat a lousy tomato. So it's like, oh, why'd you leave the tomatoes on your plate? I'm like, that's a mealy, crappy tomato. It's like, I'm not gonna eat a bad version of my favorite food. So I actually only have 4 blushes to share here, and I don't want to hear one thing about how they're all the same color, okay? I have been buying my blushes all in coral lately because that's what I want to wear, and I am wanting to give y'all the most accurate review of the formula. And sometimes if I buy a shade that is outside of my comfort zone in a new formula, it'll make it harder to know whether I like the formula or not. So that's why they're all kind of the same color, and also I just stinking love coral. That's better. I know that was probably driving some people crazy. So like, shocking to absolutely no one is this combo right here. So this is what I was talking about earlier when I said I will do kind of make do, get the job done makeup down in my downstairs bathroom, and it'll be the Glossier Stretch Concealer, and then it will be the freaking RMS blush in Smile. And the other ones that I have here are also coral cream blushes, but I will make the argument that they are different. So first we have the Kackie Dewy Bar in Peach Cobbler. So the Dewy Bar is super, super soft. Like, be very careful using this because like you could smash the whole thing on your face. There are bars that I've used, like the Pixie Glow bars and stuff like that, where it's like, good God, you can't get it to come off for anything. But I think Kackie really did a good job understanding that this delivery system needs to come off effortlessly onto the skin, or else the bar delivery system doesn't make any sense because it'll just like push your makeup around. Then we have Guava. This is such a beautiful color. And honestly, why have I not been talking about this? It must have just been out of, again, I have no object permanence, but as we're talking about my favorite coral blushes, this is right there with Rare Beauty Virtue. Oh, we didn't talk about it because it's not a Sephora. That's why. Okay. Rare Beauty Virtue and Say Cutie. And it's just, oh, so good. So good. Like muted coral wise. Then we have Smile. I would say that Smile and the Kackie are very, very similar, just very different formulas. The Kackie is very extremely dewy, and I recommend kind of applying it on top of a powder, whereas you can wear this one alone. Like, this is gonna have so much more staying power if you use it in like the Patrick Ta method over a powder, and it's gonna give you that beautiful skin texture back. Whereas this will do that. Like, you can apply it safely over powder, but it's not gonna give you that kind of like glycerin-y sheen like that one will. It's just going to probably, you know, stay a little bit more matte and like, you know, natural looking. So I love using this again on like a very low makeup, face of makeup. It's just excellent. And yeah, I didn't even talk about this. This is Mai Tai from RMS, and she is the singular powder in this situation. I just got this, but it was like love at first swipe. I knew that I was gonna love it, and I was right. And honestly, I'm more impressed with the formula in this shade than I have been with any of the other ones, just because it looks like it's gonna be so severe in the pan. Like, you're like, oh God, that's gonna really like build up and look like eyeshadow really fast, and it just doesn't. It builds really slowly, it builds really beautifully, and it doesn't leave your skin looking like shimmery. I mean, I'm wearing it right now. So those are my top shelf formulas for blush. What's next in your routine? Eyeshadow, right? Eyeshadow. Starting with this, y'all. I don't want to be a Kardashian simp, but here we are. This Skin by Kim palette, I said it in the video, I will say it again. There are only a few things that you need to do right in order to really nail a matte palette, right? There are so few moving parts here. It's about the color story and it's about the formula. But also that means it's a really high stakes game, because if either of those is wrong, there's no point in owning it. It doesn't work. This is a really good formula. It's a really easy formula to work with. It builds slowly, it's beginner friendly, and it blends really easily. And I love that whoever she hired, whether it's her own artistic eye or someone that she hired, we have warm and cool, we have light and depth. It's a fantastically useful palette. I hate to say it, but it is. Another really useful palette is this. And as you can see, all this stuff is gonna be neutral. I'm not even gonna apologize about it. I like makeup that looks good on me. And like, I just think that bright colors don't really look that good on me. So this is the Etherealized palette from Makeup by Mario. And as you can see, obviously it's not all matte. You got some ethereal to it. And the ethereal shades are really incredible. But also you have this amazing Bedroomized brown, like ridiculous. Like, give me a pan of just that. There's all of these other shades that can kind of surround it. And honestly, it's filling a hole in my ability to like recommend the Wayne Goss Pearl palette, which I think was his best release. And this is just kind of like the next iteration, I feel like, and like the next best thing. I mean, I still own that palette. I would still use it on camera a lot if it were still around. Speaking of sparkle, unctuousness, and romance, another one that I can't stop using, and this is really dramatic, really fast, but this is Diamond Dog. I need to just leave the swatches on because I think it's important for y'all to see the difference between this Bedroomized brown and Diamond Dog. This is the new shade from Urban Decay. They came out with another one, I didn't buy it, I just bought this one. So you can see it's a little bit more taupe versus brown, but very, very similar. And the other thing is the shift on it is not exclusively gold. It is both gold and silver. And so you end up with a little bit more of like a neutral that it meets in the middle of, rather than this being warmer by comparison, but they still both look amazing on, like amazing. I love it. And of course this is the Moon Dust shadow from Urban Decay. So I mean, everybody loves this formula. It's like, if that's all they did, I'd be happy. I've also been using the crap out of Space Cowboy, mainly because this is the duo. This is the top shelf duo. duo. So you see, it's like I get very passionate about certain color values. One of them is Bedroomized Brown, and another one is this kind of like super skin native gold, and it has to be like a peachy gold for it to work. So the Surratt, like you almost can't even see that on my finger. The Surratt Soufflé shadow in Ciel de Ray really accomplishes that for me. So you can see it's like almost invisible on me, and so you get this beautiful like depth if I just apply it all over my whole eyeball. And it is something, but it's not a lot. And it is very much the same color as the Moondust shadow in Space Cowboy. And so those two things go together so beautifully. You can just kind of layer one on top of the other, and it just gives you some more dimension. And so it's that little duo. I just rely on it so much. And I will say, like, when it comes to sparkle, when I'm just like thinking in terms of sparkle, I have been going for the Scattered Light from Hourglass constantly. I still will always stand by this formula. This is very much a shade that I will apply when I need to warm something up. This is Blaze, but I have Smoke, I have Ray. I think that's it. Those are the big three that I have. Like this one's much more copper, Blaze is, and even a little bit rosy, but you can see it still has like that kind of peachiness to it because peach and coral are basically the same thing. This formula is just incredible. Obviously you can see that, you know, it's very similar to the Moondust, but it's just a little bit more subtle, a little bit less of like the backing pigment. And so it's easier to work with in my eyes, but it really can build. Blaze, Ray, and Smoke, you have kind of like warm, neutral, cool, as far as like my skin tone and what I can get away with wearing. And then the other one, y'all, I haven't gotten a chance to talk about these because they sort of like migrated all over my collection before they came out. But these new ones from Phytosurgeons are just off the charts because I feel like Jason finally was like, all right, we're gonna make Kackie like 3 Bedroomized Brown colors. She can just pick which one she wants, you know? There are so many delightful shades in this collection. So this is Ancient Acres and Hypnotic Honey. The new collection is obviously incredible. Like, look at that. That one is Hypnotic Honey. Just, oh my God. I love it so much. Like if you watched my last video, what was it? The Tepid Takes? I was wearing that on my eyes. It is just so nice. It's so nice. All right, these stole my heart. It's not a phase, mom. The Merit Solar Shadows, and I was not a Merit stan, but Merit really knocked my socks off with these. A few of their products have really knocked my socks off, and these are really excellent. I find myself reaching for them constantly because I do think in terms of single colors when I'm doing my makeup a lot of times. And just because something's in an eyeshadow palette doesn't mean that it's like I'm limited to those colors or that I think in that color story just because I'm using them kind of thing. So it's like a lot of times I will look at my eye look and I'll be like, I need a color and a texture to do a thing. And these are almost always to the rescue. You know, like they are really what I need. So this is Studio, but I have Mid-Century, Vachetta, and Brune. And I just find that like one of those will always get the job done for a crease shade or like a full matte look with those. It's so sultry and gorgeous. I love it. I love it. And I think that they make a really, really good long wearing base. There are so many lousy cream shadows out there that don't wear. Those wear. And then we have a couple of quads here, a couple of luxury quads. One, I mean, it's absolutely no secret. Oh, that's because Simon did my makeup. Thank you.
There.
Thanks.
How you feel?
I feel fantastic, thank you. He shoved the brown brush into the pearly shade, but this is the 200 quad from YSL, the Couture Mini Clutch. I love this because these shades are somehow really flexible in terms of like their undertone. There's something about them that's like, you can get a mauve look out of them if you're wearing a mauve face of makeup. You can get a rosy look out of them if you're wearing a rosy face of makeup. You can even bend this a little bit again if you want to top with like Blaze from Hourglass, like I said, and get something kind of coral out of it. I know that that doesn't seem like it would do it, but it's like this rusty color. It can kind of get you there. There's something really skin native about this quad for me that really, really works. And it works in a really versatile way, which is what you want out of a quad. It's not always about necessarily like, oh, I'm gonna use these shades and accomplish this look, and then I'll use these shades and accomplish this look. And so you wanna have more shades, like more the better kind of thing. Sometimes it's about a color story that works so synergistically with your skin tone that it works in so many different instances with whatever makeup you wanna put it with, you know? know? It's kind of like finding a lip liner that's the color of your lips versus the color of your lipstick, or an eyeliner that's the color of your eyelashes versus the color of your eyeshadow kind of thing. And then I have this, which has really grown on me reluctantly. I've been reluctant. This is the Hermes, I can't speak French. Yeah, this is the number 3 one, and it is odd. It seems like it's gonna be disappointing because it's kind of low pigment, right? You'll see these swatches and you'll be like, really, Kackie? And I have one response to you, and that is, yeah, really. Oddly enough, that is a really satisfying quad. We have been conditioned on YouTube talking about eyeshadow for so long to think that, you know, things need to be pigmented in order to be high quality. Things need to be pigmented in order to perform. And I'm here to tell you, like with these colors especially, you can get something so beautiful and you have so much control when they're sheer like this. That brown is definitely really effective. You can see it does have more punch than the others, but there's something about the subtlety of this like taupey gray, which works beautifully as a transition shade that doesn't immediately give you like super dark sockets, right? And then this coral shade, which washes over things. It doesn't necessarily lay down and look like coral. It just warms up the entire look if you just kind of wash it over it. There's something about it. And then I find myself, when I'm reaching for an inner corner highlight, I'll reach for the quad just so that I can use this shade because it's such a good inner corner highlight for me. And this thing is really expensive and it's really tiny, but like if you use it, you use it. And I really like it. It's very unique in ways that I have grown to really appreciate, like more so than so many of the like high pigment exciting eyeshadows in my collection. I love being swatched up. I love it. I'm just like in the sauce, you know? Coolfy Free the Brow. This stuff is great. It's just really, really nice. It's interesting because it kind of stays a little bit movable. It's not like it freezes and then that's it. Like I could continue to take this comb right here and like work them up and they would stay. It's almost a little bit like a pomade. And that's not what you would expect from something in this delivery system with, you know, the nice wand. It's a nice big wand. I like that. And also it's just a very well done component because it's got threads on the inside of here that match up to these threads on here, but there's fewer on the outside one than the inside one. So there's not like a specific way that you have to put the lid back on. And that makes it really easy to twist it open while the brush part is closed. It's a brilliant little component, but this is a great formula for a clear eyebrow gel. I've been liking it. Like I use this now instead of the Kosas Clear. And then these two things from Victoria Beckham. This is something that I didn't reach for initially when I got it, and it's become something that for whatever reason, it's like my taste right now. It's like when I do a smoky eye, I also kind of want to go for this graphic waterline, and that's what this pencil does. It's literally a waterline pencil. That's all it does, and it just wears all day and just kind of whitens your waterline, you know, to make your eyes look bigger, but I honestly feel like it just looks a little bit cartoonish, and I like that. I don't know, it's like stylistic a little bit. And then if you haven't seen this on my channel, then you haven't been watching my channel because I use it every single video. This is the Victoria Beckham Satin Kajal Liner in Cinnamon. They came out with this shade and I said add to cart, and I was right. It is Bedroom Eyes Brown in an eyeliner. It's the best thing in the world. Victoria Beckham, please make an eyewear eyeshadow stick in this color. I will absolutely clamor for it. I will order 10. Oh, she's beautiful. And of course, I love this formula. And see, it's got the red backing. That's the main thing, or like, you know, orangey red, like warm backing to it. That's been the disadvantage of so many of these other ones where they just kind of go a little bit too gray. Like if that's what I want, that's what I want kind of thing. I think that lips are last, and then we will talk about perfumes real quick. I said that like lips are going to be quick. They're not. They're not going to be quick. I have a lot of lip stuff to talk about, and again, most of these are the same color. I will say, Kackie lip liner is back in rotation. In fact, I need to redo my lips here. This is, you know, my namesake lip liner that Thrive put out. I actually texted Carissa. No promises. I don't know if this is actually going to happen, but I was like, how hard would it be to get Kackie, the lip liner shade, into their incredible lip gloss formula? And she's like, we'll start working on it right now. I was like, okay. That was easy. That might exist at some point. That would be freaking cool. But for the moment, this is what I'm using. That kit that they put out over holiday, this is Westman Atelier. They put out a kit of all of these squeaky clean liquid lip balms in a bunch of different shades that like were exclusive just to this like $220 kit. And I was like, I don't want to do that just to get Biscuit. And so they finally put Biscuit out by itself. It's flipping beautiful. Look at that shade. Look at it. It's better than Nana. I love Nana. I do. But this is like a beautiful brown. And truth be told, y'all, it's very, 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 very similar to my Kackie lip liner. So it's not plumping and it doesn't smell like limoncello anymore, which is why I made my sparkling limoncello lip gloss smell like limoncello, is because these used to smell like limoncello and they don't anymore. Yeah, so it's not a perfect gloss, but my God, I'm so happy that they put that out in the contour color. By the way, it doesn't smell like anything. It's not like they changed it out and now it smells like chocolate or something. It's like, it just doesn't smell like anything. I told you that this had made it in. This is the Rabanne Love Balm in Soul Kiss. This is a like almost grayish sheer balm. No fragrance, no flavor, no plumping. It's amazing. You can just use it as like a lip contour in the corners. It'll make your lips look plumper, or you can just wear it on its own. It's actually a very nice balm. I love this stuff. You can get it at Ulta. It's great, very, very good. And all the other colors are pretty boring. Like this one's incredible. I finally got my hands on this. This is always on the Dior display and then they never tell you what it is. And so I finally like saw it on display and then saw it in the actual like, you know, testers, which I did not use before I was able to buy it. So this is Opal in the Dior Addict Lip Maximizer. And it does have plumping to it, but it's like not super burny, and it is opal. It's so pretty. I don't know if you can see that. You can see it still. It has a little bit of like a, you know what I mean? Like an iridescent kind of purpley pink shift on it. It's really, really lovely. I also got the Dior Lip Glow Oil, and this is such a weird thing for me to do because this is pH color adjusting, but I think that Dior is like the one company who knows how to use a pH color adjuster properly, because like this is a really extreme shade, and so it combines well with the pH color adjusting on me, and you can see it is adjusting, but it has so little of it in there. And that's what they do with their blushes too, and so I feel like it works. For whatever reason, it looks great on me. It doesn't look hot pink. It does actually look coral, and I really like it. I love the formula. Then we have the YSL Candy Glaze, or Love Shine Candy Glaze now, not to be confused with the Love Shine Candy Glow, which is the new one that's pH color adjusting, whatever. This is shade 15, Showcasing Nude, I think is what it's called. I just pulled this because my clear one is down in my purse, but I mean, I'd never stop using this stuff. It's the best. This formula is so beautiful. It's just like a perfect lip gloss in this delivery system. Finally, we have the rest of the coral lips. I will go through these pretty quickly because the price points are important to point out, and also the differences in the formulas, but you've seen these a lot lately. Most recently, I've been in absolute love with the Glaze Lip Oil from In Beauty Project in Fruit Punch. It is such a beautiful, unabashed, gorgeous, glossy, syrupy, fluorescent coral, and it smells like Hawaiian Punch. Then we have the Hermes Irresistible. I wear the living crap out of this. I don't know why I can't find my words, probably because I've been talking literally all day. It's gorgeous, no plumping on either of these. This one smells like peach rings. It's delightful, and it's a little bit lighter, you know, a little milkier. And then I'm sorry, this is my top shelf, and I'm sincerely telling you what I use. And so this is the coral, the sheer coral shade in the lip volumizer from La Mer, and it is $90, and that's really stupid, but I use the crap out of it, and it's a really lovely plumper. And then we have the new Giorgio Armani Prism Glass, and this is in the shade 3, and it has more shimmer. I think that that's the only one with shimmer in it. Yeah, it's a really nice amount of shimmer, and it's more orange than the others, and it doesn't have a scent, and it doesn't have a flavor, and it plumps a little bit in a weird way. Those are the ones that I've been using like crazy because I can't stop wearing coral. I'm just kind of trying to bring the sunshine as hard as I can. So those are the lip glosses. Let's talk perfumes real quick. And this one's actually really funny because they're all the same color. Like, why am I only using green perfumes? It's so weird. These are not unfamiliar to y'all. We have Father Figure from Fleur, and we have Mood Ring from Fleur. Father Figure, fig, androgynous, delightful, ugh, sprayed all day. And then Mood Ring, it's still like really, I don't know, it's really sexy still, but it's quite fruity and sweet, but it still has something kind of like musky and delicious to it. It smells kind of summery too. Woo, woo, I love it. Now, something very similar to Mood Ring, but I also love it for all of its unique qualities, is the Valentino Born in Roma Green Stravaganza. And it's got more sweetness to it. It's a little more grounded in like vanilla. And And it's just so easy to wear all the time. All of them are, but like you saw me, like instinctively, like this is the one I want to put on. It's so good. I bought the travel size, and during the Sephora savings event, I just sprung for the next size up, and I'm gonna go through this so fast. I love this stuff. Like this is like signature scent candidate. Although I have so many perfumes, I will never have a signature scent, but regardless, it combines everything that I love. I think it's got like jasmine and something citrusy and vanilla, and it just does all the right things. It might even have a little bit of sandalwood in it. Like it's perfect. And then my little oddball here. This is the Matcha Meditation from Replica. It is bright and fruity with like this last little bit of, I mean, it's verdant too, but it's got this last little hit of tea at the very end. You smell it and you're like, oh, tea. You know what I mean? It's not overwhelming. It's so zen. It's so beautiful. And there was just something so unique about this in the store that I just couldn't resist it. And so those are my green perfumes right now. Valentino, Fleur, and Replica. So y'all, I am out of words. I am out of breath. My mouth is dry. I need to get off camera because I've been talking too long, but that is the nature of Top Shelf, right? Is I want to tell y'all everything that I have been interacting with and loving, the things that are living in the short-term flash drive memory of my brain, because I just love them so much. We review so much makeup on my channel and I talk about how things are great, but I think it's really valuable to touch base occasionally every 3 months or so and let y'all know what I'm truly using. So that is what I hope we accomplished here today. I also want to thank Current Body for sponsoring a portion of today's video and for continuing to partner with me. And I want to encourage y'all to check out Current Body. You can use my link down below. You can use the code Kackie, get 15% off. It stacks on the bundle. It's just all excellent. Everything about Current Body is just excellent. So definitely check them out. If you like this video, please do give the video a thumbs up. Pass it along to somebody you think might like it. Subscribe if you haven't already. I will put a video up here that I think you'll enjoy. If you liked this one, watch it next. I want to thank my current subscribers for being here. I love y'all so very much. So very, very much. You're the best. The comment section is always the best because y'all are the best. And I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye.